Hi, my name's Kirsten Sweeney and I'm a nutritionist and naturopath at Living Valley Health Retreat. Welcome to today's talk on the 8 keys to women's wellness. I hope you're all enjoying your retreat down there in Tasmania. Beck is an amazing person. I'm sure you're having an amazing time down there. So let's get started. The 8 keys to women's wellness that we're going to be discussing today is eating to nourish your body, getting moving with exercise, balancing your hormones, reducing stress in today's society, getting enough sunlight on your skin, breathing in good quality air, sleeping more deeply, and practicing pleasure in today's society, getting connection, having friends, having connection. So let's talk about today's society and how much it's changed in the last 20 years. What do you think's changed about it? Yes, technology, social media. We've got our laptops, we've got our mobile phones, we're all communicating a lot more. But are we really connecting? With that communication though, we're leading busier lives. And with those busier lives, are we eating the same? Have we got a lot more stress? Breakfast, we might be having something out of a cereal box. For lunch, we might have a token sandwich. For dinner, we might have some pasta. It's all weighted on one macronutrient. And also, we've got to look at how busy we're leading our lives. We're seeing chronic health conditions that we never saw 20 years ago, especially in children, let alone ourselves as mothers. Obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. We've got to look at what we're putting in our food. We've got to look at how our food is actually produced. We're seeing food that has been in the supermarkets or in the supermarket fridges for 10 months. They're being irrigated. We're not getting the nutrient value out of that. We're not getting the vitamins and minerals we need out of those nutrients. We're not buying local and seasonal. I was in the supermarket the other day and there was some beautiful asparagus. It looked really good. I thought it was in season. But no, it was from Italy and sometimes Spain. So we've got to look at that as well. We've also got to look at genetically modified products. I mean, we're seeing corn, we're seeing wheat that's genetically modified. We're also seeing the food production changing as well. We're seeing farmers that are not rotating their crops like we once used to rotate. So we used to rotate our crops and put different crops in every season. That way we get the nutrient value out of it. But we're seeing in our soil minerals that are actually deficient. Your body is designed to be winning and in balance, but if it's not in balance, there's some sort of interference in the way, and this can cause by many things in today's society. The first one is, we talked about lifestyle, our busy lifestyle. We're communicating a lot more, we're leading busier lifestyles, so we're under a lot more stress. So stress actually causes inflammation in the body, and that inflammation causes chronic health conditions. Other interferences can be not eating the right foods to fuel your body, not putting in the right macronutrients. We need to fuel our body so it runs, so it's got enough energy for the day. Also, you could have damaged some nerves through a car accident or, by some sort of accident. Environmental, that's a big one. Toxins, pesticides, fertilizers. They can all damage things in your body and cause inflammation and cause a toxic buildup. Dental, that's a big one. Mercury fillings, the silver fillings you find in your teeth. If you drop a little bit of mercury into a lake, they'll close the whole lake down. But they put it in our teeth, and what it does, those nerve cell pathways, the ones that make you feel happy, the ones that make you feel calm, it can actually stop them from functioning. So you don't feel calm anymore. So you get anxiety, so you get depression. Also, you might have had some emotional trauma in your life, maybe death in the family by a close friend or a family, or a divorce. These things can create a lot of inflammation in your body, a lot of trauma for your body. Also toxins we talked about, chemicals, and not having the right people to connect with, not having a bunch of friends, not having community, not having that family. They can all cause interferences in your body. So the first key we're going to be talking about today is eating to nourish your body. So what foods are the right foods to nourish your body so you have the energy to go all day, so you can feel calm when you need to feel calm, so you can feel happy all day, so you get that happy-go-lucky feeling. What are the right foods? Well, let's look at the macronutrients we need. So the first macronutrient we need to actually fuel our body is protein. Who knows what protein does for your body? Anyone can answer that? Let's talk about what it actually does for the body. So the first ingredient we need for those nerve cell pathways to actually function in the right way, to make you be happy, to make you be calm, to make you have energy to go all day, the first ingredient we need is protein. That needs to be broken down to fuel these pathways. It gets broken down. The other reason we need protein is for repairing and building muscles. Another reason for protein is for our gut. In our gut we have receptors, so 60% of our protein goes down to our gut so the gut can function in the right way. Now in our gut we have receptors for our immune system, which fight foreign invaders, and we also have receptors for those nerve cell pathways, the ones that make us feel happy and calm. So if our gut's not functioning the right way, how can we function in the right way? So we also need that protein, as I just mentioned, to fight foreign invaders, for our immune system to function in the right way. So now you can see that protein is really important for your body. How do we get protein? What food's protein? Now let's look at what protein's made up of. It's made up of 22 amino acids. Now, how do we get all of those 22 amino acids from our food? The way we get all those 22 amino acids from our food is by animal foods. Let's have a look. Eggs, that provides all of those 22 amino acids. Grass-fed meat. I'm going to say grass-fed. You'll understand why in a minute, but I like you to think of grass-fed because it's got a higher omega-3 content, which is anti-inflammatory to the body. So if we get grass-fed meat, organic chicken, I'm talking about lamb, grass-fed beef. Now all of these have the 22 amino acids in them. Also dairy has your 22 amino acids. Now when we're talking about dairy, fermented dairy, it's already pre-digested and fermented, so your body knows what to do with it. So that's where you find all your 22 amino acids. But if we were looking at vegetarian and vegan sources, we're looking at eggs. Then we look at our soy products. Now soy in itself has a few issues and we won't go into that today, but get non-genetically modified soy is the best product to actually buy. And then when we're looking at other sources of protein for vegetarians, it doesn't have the same 22 amino acids. You might have 10 amino acids in one, you might have 5 amino acids in the other food. So we're looking at our beans and pulses, our grains, and then things like our nuts and seeds, and they all have to be combined to get the 22 amino acids. Now when it comes to being a vegan or vegetarian, it can be done, but what you need to keep in mind is you need to work harder, smarter, and it takes a lot more time to get the nutrients you actually need. So you actually have to work at it. It's not as easy as you think it is. So remember, the 22 amino acids, the easiest way is to get your meats, eggs, or your fermented dairy. If you're vegetarian or vegan, you have to look at combining your food and working hard and smarter to actually get enough protein for your day. So let's look at the next macronutrient we actually need for our bodies. That's fat. Wow. Been demonized, hasn't it, in the 80s? Fat this, fat that. Well, there was a study done 2 years ago that actually squashed Ansel Keys' study that was done in the 80s, where they took out all the fat and put all the sugar. Now that was a mistake, because when they put all that sugar in, a lot of chronic health conditions, we get more and more chronic health conditions, obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. Now let's look at fat and why it's important for the body, and you'll understand that fat is not the demon, it's actually sugar. Now fat, why do we need it for our body? And I'm talking about good fat. Now good fats, we need it for the body because it can be anti-inflammatory to the body. So it is anti-inflammatory to the body if you eat good fats. The next reason we need it is for hair, skin and nails. We're eating it and providing ourselves with the right amount of fats, our hair, skin and nails will flourish. We also need fats for our brain to be able to function. Our brain cells love fats. In fact, every cell in our body loves fats. So we need it for every cell in the body. Guess what? It's also the first ingredient we need to make our hormones. Yes, our women's hormones and also our stress hormones. How much do we need them in balance in today's society with everything going on? So fat is really important in today's society. We can also use it as an energy source. Everyone may have heard the ketogenic way of eating coined around. Well, the ketogenic way of eating is using fats to fuel your body. Using fats to fuel your body. Now, when you're using fats, remember, you're fueling your body and it's not going up and down like carbohydrates, because your liver is processing it and the liver processes it into ketones, and your body actually uses the ketones quite efficiently, and it doesn't go up and down like when you use sugar. So fats are good, and fats, we need them for a lot of things. Hair, skin and nails, brain cells as an energy source, for our hormones. So they're really important. Where do we get our fats, good fats, from? This is where it gets a little bit more complicated. Omega-3 fats are your good fats. What foods are these? Your eggs, your nuts and seeds, your grass-fed meat, your wild fish. Yeah. Your avocado, your whole foods, good fats. Now let's look at omega-3, anti-inflammatory to the body. Then we look at omega-6, which is inflammatory to the body. And they're coined as bad fats. We actually need bad fats. We need a little bit of inflammation, but we need these at a ratio of 1:1. What is happening in today's society is the ratio is out. It's 1:20. Now, the reason is your omega-6 fats is your vegetable oils, your grain-fed meats, and your nuts and seeds. Now, in every packaged food off the shelf is vegetable oil. That is why the ratio is out. We need to reduce the packaged foods and increase our whole foods to get that ratio back into balance. So we need lots of fats for our body, but the good fats, whole food fats. We need to reduce our vegetable oil and reduce all of our packaged foods, and our ratio comes back into balance. Fats does get a little bit more complicated than that. We look at saturated fats, monounsaturated fats, poly. We look at them under a microscope. When we look at these, the chemical structure of saturated fats, which is the animal fats and coconut oil, is a really solid structure. So when you heat that up, the body actually knows what to do with it. When you heat up a polyunsaturated fat, which is a vegetable oil, it actually, when you look at it under the microscope, it's got a really unstable structure. So when you heat it up, it starts changing. It becomes carcinogenic and inflammatory to the body. It's called a free radical. So we don't heat up our vegetable oils. Our olive oil is a little bit different. It's in between, so we can heat it up to a certain temperature. So that's it in a nutshell in fats. We can get a lot more deeper into it, but not today. So let's talk about carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are broken into sugars. Now, why do we need carbohydrates? Yes, of course, for energy. But guess what? In today's society, we're having way too much. We're having our packaged foods. We're having our sugars. We're having our soft drinks. Then we're having our grains, muffins, breads. Then we're having our anti-inflammatory grains. Then we're having our vegetables and we're having our fruit. What we actually need to do in today's society is cut all of that off. Have lots of different coloured vegetables, couple of bits of fruits, and some anti-inflammatory grains. And then, because what happens if you eat too many carbohydrates, it starts storing as fat, and that's where you get your chronic health conditions. You get obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, all from eating too many carbohydrates or too many sugars. How much sugar should we actually be eating a day? Probably around, we can allow ourselves 4 to 6 grams, 4 teaspoons of sugar. In a small can of Coke, you've got 36 grams of sugar. That's 6 times the amount you're having in a day. Too much sugar stores as fat. Too much fat causes obesity, then causes diabetes, then causes all sorts of issues and chronic health conditions like cardiovascular disease. We need to be reducing the amount of sugar we take in. One movie that's actually really good that you can watch is The Sugar Film. If you can get a hold of The Sugar Film, I think it's on YouTube, have a look at that. It's a brilliant movie and you'll get an idea of what sugar can do to the body quite quickly. So let's talk about where we get our vitamins and minerals from. Now, why do we need vitamins and minerals? Well, we need vitamins and minerals. Let's talk about for all of those enzyme reactions. Remember I talked about having enough protein in the body which gets broken down for those nerve cell pathways to be able to function, and then you become happy, or then you've got enough energy for the day. Well, in those pathways, those nerve cell pathways, we need little friends along the way, and those friends are the vitamins and minerals we actually need for those enzyme reactions to happen in our body, so we can feel energized, so we can feel relaxed, so we can feel calm when we need to feel calm. So, where do we get those vitamins and minerals from? Which foods provide us with vitamins and minerals? Or we hope that they provide us vitamins and minerals. Remember, organic is best, local and seasonal. But we've got to look at our whole foods. So our grass-fed meats, our eggs, our fermented dairy, our vegetables, our fruit, and our anti-inflammatory grains. All of our whole foods provides us with the vitamins and minerals we may need for our body. So now let's look at one thing I like to discuss when I'm talking about nutrition is mindfully eating in today's society. As I mentioned earlier, we're all living busier lives. We're all communicating a lot more. But when it comes to having our meal times, we forget to put our laptop away, to put our mobile phone away. Or we're thinking about what we've got to do next. What we need to do is shut the mobile phone, put the laptop away, just put all your distractions away. If you're eating with your family or friends, put it away and actually eat and communicate with your family and friends. If not, if you're by yourself, what you need to do is put them away. Then get your piece of food that you're eating and actually think about where it's come. How many kilometers has it traveled to get here? What nutrients is it going to provide my body? How's it actually going to taste? How's it going to feel when I eat this piece of fruit or vegetable or meat? How's it going to taste? What is it doing for my body? When you actually slow down you start breaking up those you start breaking up your food, and those digestive enzymes are going to be functioning the right way. And you actually absorb the nutrients you actually need for your body. So mindfully eating, slowing down, breaking down your food and absorbing the nutrients. Lastly, for the nutrition and nourishing your body, I want to talk about herbs. I love herbs as a naturopath. We don't actually use enough herbs in our cooking. We forget to use herbs in our cooking. Oh, they're beautiful. I just picked these out of the garden. I've got parsley here. Does everyone like cooking with parsley? It's got heaps of minerals in there. Iron. Yeah, iron. Heaps of minerals. Then we've got mint, which is a digestive. Coriander is nature's natural detoxifier. Thyme is an anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial. We've got rosemary that actually helps the estrogen for a woman. Remember this. Rosemary helps the estrogen go through the right pathway in the liver for a woman. Estrogen gets recirculated through 2 pathways and it comes out through 1. We need it to come out of our system. We need to get detoxified out of our system. Rosemary helps this process. As naturopaths, we also like to use herbs medicinally. Traditionally, we've used these, but the clinical studies have now caught up. We've got to look at turmeric. Now, turmeric is a really hard herb to actually absorb into your system. When you're using it in cooking, you need to use it with fats. But when we use it medicinally, we use it in a really high dose form, and it's actually been likened to an antidepressant because what it does, it dampens all the inflammation pathways in your brain down, and it actually enhances your mood. So turmeric can enhance your mood. It's actually also used as an anti-inflammatory. So what I'm saying here is, if you have a chronic health condition or things happen, go and see a naturopath and use natural herbs to get you where you need to be got. But in the meantime, use herbs in your cooking. They're fantastic. Okay, you guessed it. The second key to women's wellness is moving your body with exercise. You need to move your body every day. Why do we need to move our body every day? What benefits does it have? Well, the first benefit is increasing your serotonin, your happy hormone. Makes you feel good. The more serotonin you get in the morning from exercise and from the sun, you convert that to melatonin in the evening and you'll sleep a lot better. The second reason we need to be exercising every day, it's great for our heart, our cardiovascular system. We become fitter and healthier. So we need to be doing. It reduces inflammation in our body. It's great for stress management. Exercising is really good for stress management. It's also really good at reducing any chronic health conditions. Also boosts your immune system and slows down that aging process. So it's really important exercise. Now let's look at the different types of exercises we need to be doing. So we talked about cardio, moving our body for 30 minutes a day and the benefits of that. It's also beneficial for weight management as well, cardiovascular exercise. So, moving for 30 minutes a day, how can we do that? Walking, running, dancing, basketball, tennis, swimming. There is some sort of exercise you can find you can do. The one thing I say is do something you enjoy. Find something you enjoy so you can do it every day. But I have people telling me, Kirsten, I don't have 30 minutes a day. Well, I have the thing for you. You can do 15 minutes a day of high intensity interval training. How do you do high intensity interval training? Well, you can do it by skipping, rowing, bike riding, running, it means just say I've got a skipping rope. Slow for 2 minutes, fast for a minute. Slow for a minute, fast for a minute for 15 minutes. 15 minutes is equal to 30 minutes of exercise, cardio exercise. So you can do that. The second form of exercise we need to be doing is resistance training, building and toning our muscle. The reason we need to be building and toning our muscle is by building and toning your muscle, you get increased density of your bone. So you have stronger bones. And as we're aging, especially going through this transition of 40 up to 70, we lose a lot of bone density. So you need to be building and toning muscle to keep that bone density there. So we're not falling over, we're not tripping, we're not breaking bones. Also, to have that muscle there, you're burning fat a lot quicker. You're also more energized and you're more hydrated. So it's really important to be doing that resistance training, building and toning muscle 2 to 3 days a week. How can you do it? Well, we could use weights. So you could be doing weights. You could also be doing body resistance. So you could be using your body as resistance. Push-ups. You could be doing Pilates. You could be doing what you're doing this weekend, yoga. You could also be doing acroaerobics. Depending on what your body can cope with, you need to find some form of exercise that will build and tone your muscle. Now, the third form of exercise that we need to be doing is stretching every day. Flexibility or stretching. Now, you can do that with your yoga classes, but you could also do it at home for 5 to 10 minutes a day. Grab some stretches that you're comfortable with, that you enjoy, add a couple of new ones each week, and just do 5 to 10 minutes of stretching every day. So the next key we're going to talk about today is balancing our hormones. And as women, we need these hormones in balance, especially in today's society when we're leading busier lives. So let's now talk about what are hormones. Well, hormones are chemical messages in your body. They carry around messages to different organs and tell them what they should be doing. They alter things like weight, your mood, growth, temperature, digestion, and every single hormone actually has a job. Now, the top 3 hormones that women need to understand are estrogen, our reproductive hormones, thyroid hormones, and also our stress hormones like cortisol. We need these 3 hormones to keep in balance, like the Charlie's Angels of hormones. And estrogen keeps the thyroid hormones and the stress hormones actually in balance. What does estrogen do in our body? Well, they're responsible to keep women juicy, joyous, and juicing for a lovin'. Whereas the thyroid hormones really keeps us in check with our metabolism and our energy levels. And then we've got to look at what our stress hormones do, our cortisol, and that really helps us. The cortisol is the main source for focus and function, especially when we're under a lot of stress. When we look at these, we also can bring in progesterone. That's under estrogen, and that counterbalances estrogen by helping regulate the uterine lining. It helps regulate our sleep and our emotions as well. Also, testosterone really helps us with vitality and our self-confidence. So that's a little bit about our different hormones. Now, let's look at what we can do to balance our hormones. Now let's look at how we actually get our hormones out of balance in today's society. Well, we've talked about this in the very beginning, but stress is probably the major one. Stress causes inflammation in our body, and if we stay stressed, which we keep releasing that cortisol, if we stay stressed, that puts us in a state of chronic stress, which causes a lot of inflammation in our body. And we can get inflammation absolutely from stress, but we can also get it from not eating the right foods. We can get it from toxins, from chemicals. Big one is too much alcohol. Too much alcohol, drinking every night. We talk about how much alcohol we should be having. So how do our hormones get out of balance in today's society? Well, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? The first one is the stress that we're actually under. Working too much, communicating a lot more to friends and family, mobile phone devices, busy lifestyles, picking the kids up from school. We're all really busy. So stress. Now, stress and chronic stress is when the stress keeps going and there's never end to the stress, there's never any downtime. That chronic stress can cause inflammation. And inflammation can cause our hormones to get out of balance, as does stress. Now, inflammation in the body can also be caused by many things. And we talked about this, not eating the right foods, toxins, substances. Another one is drinking too much alcohol. Drinking too much alcohol puts a big impact on our body. Drinking every night and not in moderation can cause inflammation, especially in our gut lining. And that can actually cause our hormones to get out of balance. Age, thyroid issues, carrying excess fat around our bodies. Now, when we carry excess fat, in that fat we have estrogen. So we actually have too much estrogen in our body, and that can cause our hormones to come out of balance. Nutrient deficiencies can cause our hormones to come out of balance, and not eating the right foods, as we talked about, to fuel our bodies. Another big one is xenoestrogens. And what are xenoestrogens? Well, they're hormone disrupting chemicals. Things found in plastics like BPA, in plastic drink bottles, in plastic wraps, in plastic containers. Also in hair products, not natural hair products, has things in there that can cause xenoestrogens as well. Also, we find them in toxic cleaning products as well. We have to opt for non-toxic cleaning products. Now, xenoestrogens can actually change your genetic profile, and it actually xenoestrogens mimic estrogen. So it actually gets your estrogen and hormones out of balance, to say it in the simplest terms. So we really need to reduce the plastics we're having in today's society. Now, how do our hormones get out of balance in today's society? Well, we've talked about numerous reasons. Stress. And not only stress, chronic stress that doesn't end. That causes inflammation. So inflammation, not eating the right foods, our age. We can get out of balance just through age. Thyroid issues, toxins, nutrient deficiencies. Also, xenoestrogens. Xenoestrogens mimic estrogen in our body. So xenoestrogens are found in plastics, in plastic water bottles, in plastic wrap, in plastic containers. So we need to look at how much of xenoestrogens we're actually getting, and reduce the amount of xenoestrogens, because they actually can disrupt our genetic profile as well. Now let's look at how we get those Charlie Angels of hormones back into balance. Okay, the first thing we talked about today was eating to nourish your body. We need to eat to nourish our hormones. What do we have to remember by nourishing our hormones? The first ingredient we need is good quality fat. We need good quality fat. We're talking about omega-3, we're talking about nuts and seeds, we're talking about eggs, we're talking about avocado. We're talking about grass-fed meat. We're talking about fermented dairy. We're talking about wild fish. We need lots of whole food fats to fuel our body and fuel our hormones so we can make them. Then we actually need to be making sure, as we talked about, having enough protein, have enough vegetables, a couple of bits of fruit. So we really need to be nourishing our body with whole, healthy foods to keep our hormones in balance. We also need to, when it comes to food, avoid overeating and avoid undereating. So eating the right amount of food to fuel your body. We also need to really reduce that sugar and refined carbohydrates. Remember, when we eat too much sugar, it stores as fat. And in that fat, we got estrogen deposits in there. And that causes our Charlie's Angels of hormones to get out of balance. So reducing your fats, and if you're eating too many carbohydrates, reducing those carbohydrates or those refined carbohydrates as well is really beneficial to your body. Reducing the alcohol and how much alcohol we have. If you're drinking every night, then that's too much. We really need, if we are able to moderate our alcohol, is drinking on maybe 2 nights a week, a couple of glasses. 2 nights a week, a couple of glasses. Then we also need to be looking at mindfulness and meditation and even yoga. So calming our bodies down, reducing that stress around us. We're always so busy, we forget to calm and have time for ourselves. Giving yourself 30 minutes of downtime, doing some sort of breathing exercise, doing some meditation, being mindful about the way you eat, doing a yoga class or 2 or 3 every week. That really helps get us back into balance and get our hormones back into balance. And if you're doing all those things and doing them well and your hormones are still out of balance, it's then time to see a naturopath. So the next key we need to look at is reducing the stress in our everyday lives. We're all leading busier lifestyles, as we've talked about. There's so much more stress involved in our lives. Stress can be a good thing. It can show us that we have to adapt and adjust. But when it becomes chronic stress, stress that we never get a break from, we're chronically stressed every day, that stress is there, that's where it causes inflammation and chronic health conditions. 75%, I think the statistics around 75 to 80% of our doctor's visits are the cause is actually stress. So we're going to see a doctor because there is so much stress in our lives, and that is the cause of a lot of health conditions. Remember, chronic stress causes inflammation everywhere in our body, and that inflammation causes chronic health conditions. So we need to look at ways to reduce the stress in our lives. So the different ways we can reduce our stress in our lives, some of them were already talked about today, but the first one is a big one. It's making sure you do some exercise in your life. Now, I always say, if you're running that busy lifestyle and you're working an 8-hour week, or just say you're working a 50-hour week and you're busy, you're picking up the kids, dropping them to school, to work, dropping them to school and then picking them up after work, and then you're going to a full-time job, and then you've got to get dinners ready, and then you've got finances you have to do on top of that. What you need with exercise is sometimes you need some de-stress exercise. Things that slow you down but still going to build and tone muscle. So things that we need to be looking at is what you're doing this weekend, yoga. Yoga has many studies behind it, and clinical studies, to say that it helps reduce that chronic stress in your life. It helps you to slow down. It helps create those endorphins that help you relax and have some calmness about your body and your physical body and your mind as well. So introducing some yoga into your life, maybe some swimming, beautiful walks. Walking is a really easy one to do. So making sure you're walking every day. doing a couple of yoga classes a week if you can manage that, doing some Pilates. If not, if you've got something going on with your body, maybe some swimming. So look at bringing that exercise back into your life. The exercise is really easy not to do, but it's easy to do as well. And to create, to actually create and make sure that you're doing it every day, to make it a habit, you need to be doing it every day for a week. Once you've done it every day for a week, reward yourself with something healthy. Give yourself a massage, then continue it for 4 to 6 weeks to make it a habit. Continue something for 4 to 6 weeks to make it a habit. Then look at bringing some sort of meditation, mindfulness or prayer into your lives. The studies say that if you bring this mindfulness, meditation or prayer into your life, it really helps reduce that stress. And doing that for 15 minutes a day really helps. Also looking at eating that nutrient-dense diet, making yourself sure you fuel your body. Remember I said that to be able to make those hormones, you need enough fat. Fat is actually really important in your diet. So the right kinds of fat we talked about, avocado, nuts and seeds, grass-fed meats, eggs, wild fish, wild and local fish. So including that in your diet is really important. Then we've got to look at spending some time in nature, getting out into the fresh air. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Green space. A lot of people are in an office or an air-conditioned environment and they're not getting out to green space. So even if it's on the weekend, you go camping, you go bushwalking, you go for a walk with your family. Getting into that green space and those green surroundings helps reduce that stress as well. Journaling is another way to reduce that stress. Getting a book and putting it by your bed. Actually journaling your thoughts and your emotions and getting them down on paper. This has many studies behind it, but it actually feels good to write it down and get it out of your head. It does reduce that stress. So try some journaling as well. Also, we talked about going to a naturopath to get some herbs to reduce some of that anxiety and reduce those stress. And actually, we've got herbs that actually help adapt you to certain situations as well. So going to see a naturopath and getting on some herbs. Also breathing exercises or taking time out to do some deep breathing. When you're in a stressful environment or you're busy, take maybe a minute out and just breathe deeply in through the nose and out of the mouth. Breathe deeply. Take that time. You'd be surprised how quickly it reduces that stress and even reduces that anxiety that's going on around you at that particular time. And don't forget, the studies also say that cognitive behaviour therapy, going to see someone about doing cognitive behaviour therapy, can really help as well. So these are many ways you can reduce the stress in your life. If there is a lot of stress, try and reduce it, or try and do things that actually slow you down. Now, the next key to women's wellness is getting enough sunlight on our skin, which may be hard down in Tasmania, but I actually have heard that you've had some beautiful sunlight down there for summer, so hopefully you did get enough sunlight on your skin. So why do we need the sun on our skin? Why is it important? It's very controversial, isn't it? Because we don't actually want to get burnt. But we need to get enough sunlight on our skin before we get burnt. Why? Well, the first reason is because sunlight gets converted to vitamin D in our body. And we need that vitamin D for our immune system so we can fight all those foreign invaders and stay at our healthiest. We also need that sunlight for stronger bones. And as we age, remember we talked about that we need stronger and healthier bones because we lose that bone density, so we need the sunlight for stronger bones. Sunlight also on our skin can help kill any bad bacteria that's growing on our skin. So for rashes, skin rashes, this can actually be quite good for bacteria on our skin. Anyway, let's talk about how much we actually need. So we need the sunlight on our skin before we get burnt. So about 20 minutes. In summer, and here in Queensland, I'm not sure about Tasmania because I know it's a bit stronger. In summer, before 10 and after 10, on the soft tissues, this is soft tissues on our stomach or on our back, on the soft tissue parts, gets absorbed more readily and more quickly. So 20 minutes. In winter, here in Queensland, I can go out throughout the day. So it depends on your skin type and tone. We want to get 20 to 30 minutes before we actually burn, and whilst we have no sun cream on. So as you've seen on the media, that sun cream can cause cancer as well. So we need to, once we've got that sun on our skin, we need to cover up with clothes or a big hat. But there's going to be sometimes you actually need to put some sun cream on. We need to look for a more natural sunscreen, which is normally a zinc-based sunscreen to put on our skin. Yeah? So 20 to 30 minutes on our soft tissues, yeah, on our skin, and then once we've done that, we cover up or put more of a zinc-based sunscreen on our skin. So 20 minutes. Also, I've been researching a little bit why our vitamin D levels are really low in Australia. First one is because we put too much sunscreen on our bodies and we don't allow that sun to get through. The second reason is that we've got a natural bacteria on our skin of good bacteria and bad bacteria. We actually need that on our skin in homeostasis, in balance. Because what it does, it converts the sunlight, it helps convert the sunlight to vitamin D. But what happens is we're all washing ourselves way too much. We're all washing with antibacterial soaps 2 to 3 times a day. We actually don't need to wash ourselves anymore. Just don't do it. No. So when it comes to washing yourself with soap, I want you to just wash under your arms and this section here with soap. You actually don't need to wash yourself with soap everywhere all the time. The next key for women's wellness that we're going to be talking about today is getting good quality air into our lungs. Now we've got to remember we need oxygen into our lungs to fuel our cells, to give energy to our cells. And carbon dioxide is going out as a waste product. We can't live for very long without air into our lungs. So when we are in an air-conditioned office all day, the air quality in that is 5 times worse than outside. So it really helps to get outside on the occasion if you're working inside. So making sure you're taking your breaks and getting outside and doing some sort of walk outside. If you can't get out during the week, is maybe on the weekend going, as we talked about, into green space, into nature. Really when you get into that nature and those plants and those bushes, that green space, you get more oxygen and clean oxygen into those lungs of yours. When you're in that inside and the air quality isn't as good, you can start getting symptoms like irritability, allergies, allergic reactions to different things. You could get sneezing. You could feel foggy brain. These are all the symptoms you get from being in bad air quality. Some of the air pollution that we like to talk about is living in different areas, like chemical sprays from different farming areas. There's a place in Childers in that area, and a lot of people have cancer in that area. Some person actually said around 60% due to all those chemical sprays around that area. Well, if you're getting sick in that area, you actually need to move into a different area. You've got to look at what's surrounding you and what's in the air. Another reason people get chronically ill is because they're in a moldy house. So you've got to look at what is going on with your house. Mold can create chronic illness and chronic fatigue to some people that are susceptible to that. So things you need to get better quality oxygen into your lungs is when you're at home is opening up the windows. Or if you're in an office and it's cool enough, don't put the aircon on, just to open up those windows to get good quality air inside. You can actually put house plants in as well. Cleaning products, swapping from cleaning products to natural cleaning products, things like vinegar, things like essential oils, bicarb soda. You can actually Google that and see there's some great quality natural cleaning products that you can actually use. Also hair care products as well, swapping over and using more natural hair care products and personal products is really good. If you get things dry cleaned for work, is leaving that dry cleaning hanging outside for a day, because it's actually chemically sprayed. So leaving outside for a day before you bring it in. There, and also, just as we talked about, taking time out to do some breathing, and even if it's 30 seconds or a minute for a day, is really when you breathe, breathing in through your nose all the way down into your lungs, down to your gut, and breathing out through your mouth. So breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And imagine there's a balloon in your stomach, and the balloon is inflating as you're breathing in, the balloon is deflating as you're breathing out. And just spending a time, 1 minute, 30 seconds of breathing each day as well, especially when you get out to nature and the green space around you. So to increase the air quality, make sure you get outside, get into green space, put house plants in your house and open up. Another key that we really need to look at for women's wellness is sleeping more deeply and actually getting enough sleep. Why do we need sleep? Yeah, for repairing our bodies, resting our bodies. This is where we do most of the repair work to our bodies. So we need to be having around 7 to 9 hours a night. Now, what time we go to bed is really important, because the hours before midnight are worth double than after midnight. So if you're going to sleep at 10 o'clock, there's 2 hours till 12 o'clock. That's like 4 hours. You're getting into a deeper, longer sleep because you get more melatonin into your body. Now remember what we talked about earlier, exercise and sunlight increases serotonin in your body, and that later in the evening time actually converts to melatonin. So if you do exercise and get some sunlight on your bodies in the morning, you're more likely to sleep better in the evening. So going to bed around 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30, before 12 o'clock, you get into a deeper, longer sleep. Some of the dangers of not getting enough sleep is increased levels of depression, increased levels of anxiety, cravings, foggy brain, not being able to think, increased levels of inflammation as well. So getting sleep is really important. Some of the things we can do to get more sleep and better sleep, there's numerous things we can do. For some people is making sure you sleep in complete darkness. For others of you, it might be in a cooler room. So having the fan going, not the aircon, but having a fan going. For other people is not having caffeine after 12 o'clock. Some people like me are really sensitive to caffeine, so if you have it after 12 o'clock, you will not get to sleep. So making sure you reduce that caffeine intake or have it before 12 o'clock. The other thing that you could be doing is making sure that your laptops, mobile phones, you're not using them 2 hours before you go to bed. Now these laptops and mobile phones used to have something in them called blue light, which really affects our sleep quality and quantity. The laptop companies and mobile phone companies have read these studies and put a lot of money into it to change the blue light into a different light, but it still doesn't mean we don't get overstimulated. So still, if you're getting a disturbed sleep or not getting to sleep, is making sure that you don't actually use your laptop or mobile phone 2 hours before you go to sleep. The other thing that you can do is have some sort of sleep routine. So, you know, listening to some beautiful, quiet music, relaxing music, calming music, going for a nice bath, reading a book, chilling out with a nice herbal tea, maybe passion flower or chamomile before you go to sleep, and getting that sleep routine going. Now, a lot of people actually think that alcohol helps get them to sleep. Now, alcohol will work on the same pathway as GABA, the GABA pathway calming you down. It can get you to sleep, but you have a more disturbed sleep. The studies say that alcohol makes you have a lighter, more disturbed sleep. So alcohol is not a good tool to use to get to sleep. So when it comes back to sleep, getting to bed before 12 o'clock at 10:30 gets you into a deeper, longer sleep, making sure you get into the sunlight in the morning if you can, or going for some sort of exercise or some sort of walk to increase the serotonin, which actually converts to melatonin later on. But eating nutrient-dense food will really help as well. And just those things we talked about, having some sort of sleep routine as well. And the last key to women's wellness that I want to talk to you about is practicing pleasure, connection, fun, gratitude. Making sure you have connection, whether it be with your family, with your friends, whether it's a support group or a community or a church group, is having some sort of connection, have some sort of team around you that actually supports you and lifts you up. People you can have laughs with, people you can talk to if there's something going on, people you can just connect with, especially women. Women need women to talk to as well. So when you're doing that, and when you're having that really, when you have that connection and that fun with a group of girls or a group of people, whether it be family or friends, you're going to have more health and well-being throughout your life. You're going to live a longer and healthier life, the studies actually say. You're going to have more empathy towards others. It's going to quiet your mind, and you can actually feel a bit more relaxed when you want to feel relaxed. You also get more of those endorphins, or especially of the serotonin, the happy hormone, and also of the oxytocin, that love hormone as well. You feel more loved, and there's more compassion, and there's more empathy. So having the right people around you to support you, connect with, and have fun, and also be thankful for, is really important in your life. So just to recap about what we talked about today, the 8 keys to women's wellness, is the first key we've got to remember is eating to nourish our body, fueling our body. Remember, those good fats are really good at reducing that inflammation and helping us balance our hormones. And then we've got to look at moving our bodies, getting enough exercise to help reduce the stress in our lives, but also keeping our bodies and our minds healthy. Then we also need to look at balancing our hormones, and we can do that through reducing stress, nutrition, exercise, reducing the chemicals around us. So balancing our hormones is really important for us. Also reducing the stress in today's society. Finding some techniques to help you reduce that stress in your weekly schedule. So remembering, reducing that stress in your weekly schedule by doing things like yoga, breathing, taking time out to breathe, making sure you have time for exercise, nourishing your body. Also to remember is get some sunlight on your body when you can in Tasmania. Getting that sunlight on your body to actually help boost your immune system and create stronger bones. The air we breathe, don't forget to get good quality air, getting outside into green space, into the bush, going for a walk. If you're in an air-conditioned office, getting outside to get some of that good quality air. And also taking the time out to breathe for a minute or 2 a day. Deep quality breathing, getting the oxygen into your lungs, reducing that stress and reducing that anxiety. Also getting enough sleep in the evenings. Getting to a deeper, longer sleep in the evenings is really important for your bodies. And the lastly is practicing pleasure, connecting with your friends and your family, and having people around you to support you and actually lifting you up. Now I know you're all doing a retreat this weekend. I hope that you have a fantastic time there and you're enjoying yourselves a lot. All my love to Beck. Thanks, and I'll see you later. Bye.